Welcome. Today we're stepping into some really unsettling territory, sharing stories that started pretty ordinarily connecting on a dating app.
But these aren't typical bad date stories?
No, definitely not. Our sources are accounts shared online, people detailing experiences that became genuinely frightening.
Yeah.
So what we want to do today is really just walk through these stories together, understand what happened, pinpoint those moments where things felt off or took a turn.
Then maybe see what connects these different experiences.
Exactly. Let's just tell the stories that were shared. Okay, first up, this account comes from a 23-year-old woman, a college student. She met this guy, let's call him John, on Tinder.
Mm-hmm.
He seemed nice, pleasant enough. They went on a few dates, maybe over like almost a month. She felt okay enough to agree to go to his place for dinner.
Okay. Seems standard so far.
Right. So she drives over, pulls up to his house, and she immediately sees two cars in the driveway, which was a little unexpected. She hadn't really asked about roommates, but she figured, okay, maybe he has roommates. Didn't seem like a huge deal, but she noticed it.
Noted that detail.
Yeah. Parks on the street, walks up. John opens the door, big smile, welcomes her in, but stepping inside, total shock.
Oh.
She described it as looking, quote, almost like a hoarder's house. Just trash everywhere, stuff piled high, barely any room to walk.
Wow, okay. That's a disconnect from the pleasant guy image.
Big time. She said she kind of faked a smile, trying not to react, already thinking, this isn't going to work out. But she wanted to be polite about it.
Sure. That initial shock, though, the car's outside, then this inside, it's like the first sign that maybe things aren't quite what they seem. It's interesting how quickly she registered that, even while trying to stay composed.
Absolutely. So she follows him into the kitchen. It's a bit cleaner there, and he's got 2 plates of food ready.
Okay.
But after seeing the rest of the house, both her appetite was gone. She just politely told him she wasn't feeling great and couldn't really eat.
Understandable.
His reaction, though, this is where it got really strange. She said he looked totally off-putting, shocked almost, like he was suddenly deep in thought. Couldn't really hold eye contact for long.
Over her just saying she wasn't hungry?
Yeah, just a really intense, weird response. He sort of snapped out of it eventually, put her plate away, but then she noticed he seemed preoccupied, looking around the room, trying to be sneaky, she said, even looked almost nervous.
That is not a typical reaction, is it? It's like, declining dinner wasn't part of his plan or something. That nervousness, the scanning the room, it definitely sounds like more than just social awkwardness. It makes you wonder, when do these little things cross from just odd to genuinely worrying?
Exactly. So she remembered the cars again, asks him politely, "Oh, do you have roommates?" And he goes, "Yeah, they're away for the weekend, though." Just like that. Then really quickly, he excuses himself, says he needs to take a call, and walks off near the living room.
Ah, so there it is. The lie.
Right. She said his whole vibe felt completely different from the guy she'd been dating. He came back pretty quick, put his phone down on the table, apologized.
But that lie hangs in the air, away for the weekend when their cars are sitting right outside.
It's such a clear, deliberate deception about something easily checked. It just confirms he's hiding something or someone in that house.
She was definitely feeling unsafe by then, trying to figure out how to get out of there smoothly. And then she hears it, a really clear thump from upstairs.
Oh, no.
The second it happened, she said John's eyes just snapped right to her.
Right.
Like he was instantly checking if she'd heard it too.
That reaction tells you everything.
He quickly mumbled something like, "Be right back," and went upstairs. Left his phone sitting right there on the table.
Okay.
And then his phone lights up. Screen facing up. She said she felt this mix of, like, fear, but also justification. She leaned over and saw a text message preview from an unsaved number. The text said, "Do you have her yet?"
Wow. Okay. A thump from upstairs right after he says no one's home, followed by that text. That is chilling. It completely contradicts his story and strongly suggests this wasn't just dinner. It sounds premeditated.
Panic just hit her hard. And she's trying to process that text. She hears footsteps coming down the stairs fast.
Oh, man.
She didn't wait. She just bolted, sprinting for the front door, hearing those footsteps getting closer from inside the house. She made it to her car, slammed the door, sped off, didn't stop until she was safe in her own driveway, and then she called the police.
Good for her. Smart move.
The police did respond. They went over, they questioned John, and they questioned the roommate who was, in fact, upstairs.
Ah, so he admitted it then.
Seems so. They did a quick search of the house, too, but they didn't find anything that pointed concretely to, quote, bad intentions.
And that's the tough part, isn't it? The police need actual evidence of a crime or clear, undeniable intent. Her fear was absolutely valid. The lie, the sound, that text message, it's terrifying. But legally, it might not have met the threshold for arrest or charges at that moment. It leaves her in this awful position of knowing something was deeply wrong, but without the proof for official action.
Exactly. And that's where it ended. She's left just hoping, as she put it, that she took it all the wrong way. But, obviously still completely unsettled by the lie, and especially by that text message. Okay, let's move to the second account. This one is also from a 23-year-old female college student, also using Tinder. She wasn't dead set on finding a long-term thing, but, open to it.
Right.
She matched with a guy, went out for dinner near campus. Her impression was he seemed normal, maybe even a little boring.
Okay, an unremarkable date.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Dinner ended. They actually made plans for a second date. As she was getting ready to walk back to her dorm, he offered her a ride home, which surprised her, because he also lived on campus. So presumably he'd normally walk too. She didn't even know he had a car there.
That is a bit unusual, yeah. Why drive if you both live right there?
Her thought, exactly. But it was like a 25-minute walk, so she figured, okay, why not? Accepted the ride, got into his car, an older black Honda SUV.
Gotcha.
The drive started okay, but then got awkward. Like small talk just wasn't landing, fell into this uncomfortable silence.
We've all been there.
Totally.
Yeah.
But then came the moment everything changed. They reached a point where campus was clearly to the right. He took a left turn, the complete opposite direction. She said she felt it instantly, a lump in my throat, her whole body went stiff. Just this overwhelming feeling that something awful about to happen.
That gut instinct kicking in?
For sure. She tried to sound calm, nice.
Yeah.
Said, I think you missed the turn.
And his response?
Just a quiet, firm no. Didn't even look at her. Just stared straight ahead, driving away from campus.
Wow. That single word, no. That just changes everything, doesn't it? It's not a mistake. It's intentional. It confirms her fear. He's not taking her home. What's fascinating is how abrupt that shift is, from boring date to immediate, clear danger.
Terrifying. She asked, where are you taking me? No response. Told him to let her out. Nothing. The road started looking less familiar. The area felt more remote. She said fear was actually giving her a headache as they kept driving further out.
What was she thinking? What could she do?
She knew she had her phone, but she figured if she waited until they stopped somewhere, he'd probably take it from her.
Good thinking.
So her only chance was to act fast while the car was moving. She waited until he started making a turn, figuring his attention would be divided for a second. As he turned, she yanked out her phone. Shaky hands, she said, and managed to dial 911.
Mid-turn. That takes guts.
He noticed right away. Lunged across, trying to grab the phone while still turning, jerking the car. She fought to keep hold of it.
Oh my...
As soon as the 911 operator picked up, she started yelling, screaming for help, shouting out street names, the direction they were going, all while he's hitting her, pulling her towards him, trying to get the phone.
A full-on fight in a moving car.
And in the middle of that struggle, he lost control. The car veered off the road, crashed right into a speed limit sign.
Whoa.
She said everything went fuzzy for a second. Dizzy, blurry vision. Probably a concussion, she thought. She could hear the 911 operator still on the line. The phone must have fallen somewhere. As her head cleared a bit, she looked over. He was gone. Just, gone from the car. Windshield broken, airbags out, but he wasn't there.
Vanished.
She managed to tell the operator she was okay, but the man had fled. Officers got there really quickly.
Was she seriously hurt?
Thankfully, no lasting physical injuries, just banged up and obviously in shock. But she gave the police everything she had at. His first name from the app, a description, even the car's license plate number. She was sure they'd catch him.
You'd think so, with all that info.
But they didn't. Turns out the car, stolen. Reported stolen the day before. The name he gave her, almost certainly fake, and his Tinder account, deleted. Gone almost immediately after the incident.
So, a complete ghost.
Exactly. All the police had was her description of a man whose real identity and digital trail just evaporated.
That really shows how incredibly easy it can be to create a false front online, doesn't it? Stolen car, fake name, disposable profile. It's a playbook for avoiding consequences. It really makes you question how much safety or verification is possible when these platforms make it so easy to disappear.
And for her, she's left not knowing what his actual plan was. Just the terror of what could have happened. This awful fear that he's still out there trying to do the same thing to someone else. Okay, our third story is from a man's perspective. He'd recently gone through a breakup, was back on Tinder, feeling, in his words, kind of desperate.
Been there.
He was talking to 2 different women, set up dates with both. The first one just ghosted him completely, which kind of ramped up his hopes for the second date. This second woman, her profile picture, his perfect type, he said. But texting her was rough, bland, and bad at conversation. Still, he figured maybe she's better in person. Worth a shot.
Okay. Benefit of the doubt.
He arranged to meet her at a cheap restaurant that was close to where she lived. He got there about 5 minutes early, texted her he was there, waited outside.
Standard procedure.
20 minutes go by. Nothing. So he decides to call her.
Makes sense.
And she actually answers. He asks, hey, where are you? And she says, clear as day. I'm right outside the place.
Oh, okay, so she's there.
That's what he thought. He's looking around and says, hello, again. And she just hangs up. Click. No other word.
Wait, what? Says she's there and then just hangs up. That's bizarre. That's not just ghosting. That's something else entire. It's so ambiguous. Is it just incredibly rude, or is it
deliberate?
Calculated?
Really leaves you wondering what just happened there.
Totally. He was just standing there feeling embarrassed and annoyed, figured he'd been stood up in a really weird way, so he just gave up and drove home.
Can't blame him. Gets home, makes some cereal, sits down on the couch, watches TV, ends up falling asleep right there on the couch, maybe around 8 p.m.
Okay.
Wakes up later that night. And the very first thing he notices is his phone is missing. It wasn't on the end table where he usually leaves it.
Okay. Maybe fell somewhere.
That's what he thought at first. He sits up, starts looking around the couch area, and as he looks towards the back of the room, he sees something in the corner of my eye.
What was it?
His back door. It was slightly open, just a crack. Not wide open, but definitely not closed and latched. Like someone had pulled it almost shut, but didn't let it click.
Oh, wow. Okay, that is chilling. Especially waking up to that near the door. That's that horrible moment of realization someone might have been in the house. And maybe while he was asleep right there.
Exactly. He froze. Everything was dead quiet. He always locked his doors, he said. So seeing it like that, deeply disturbing. His first thought was maybe an intruder came in, saw him asleep on the couch, and just left quietly.
Hoping for the best case scenario there.
Right. But then, the missing phone. That clicked. He thought, what if they stole my phone? They would have had to be right in front of me, just inches away, probably watching me sleep. He said a shiver just ran down his spine thinking about it.
I don't blame him. That's terrifying.
He carefully got up, pushed the door fully shut, locked it tight, praying whoever it was, they were gone now. He checked the whole first floor. Nothing seemed out of place except the phone. Then he started heading upstairs, feeling, as he put it, more scared. Checking the rooms up there.
Nerve-wracking.
He gets to his bedroom, checks everywhere, under the bed, closet, bathroom, nothing. No sign of anyone.
Okay, maybe they really did just leave.
He steps back out in the hallway, closes his bedroom door behind him. He's standing there thinking how incredibly creepy the whole thing is, trying to figure out how he's going to call the police without a phone. And then he hears it.
What?
Quiet, soft breathing coming from inside the bedroom closet, right behind him.
No! Oh my god, inside the closet he just checked.
Apparently. Or maybe they slipped in while he was checking other rooms. Either way.
Yeah.
The sound. That sound changes everything, doesn't it? It goes from maybe someone was here to someone is here right now, hiding feet away. The threat becomes immediate, real, and absolutely terrifying. He said he froze again. Just pure horror. But then adrenaline, survival instinct, whatever it was, kicked in. He just turned and ran. Didn't even think. Sprinting down the stairs, out the front door, didn't stop running until he got to a gas station at the end of his block.
Smart! Get out! Get help!
Had the clerk call the police. They arrived, did a thorough search of the house this time.
And find anyone?
No, nobody was found inside. The only thing confirmed missing was his phone. Luckily, his account was backed up, so getting a new phone and restoring his data wasn't the biggest issue, functionally speaking.
But the psychological impact.
Exactly. But here's where it gets even stranger. A few weeks later, he decides to go back on Tinder. And he notices the account of that girl, the one with the weird phone call who supposedly stood him up.
Yeah.
It no longer existed. Vanished.
Huh. Just like the guy in the second story.
Right. And that's when he started putting it together. His strong suspicion now is that she, or maybe someone with her, didn't stand him up at all. Maybe they did see him at the restaurant, but instead of meeting him, they followed him home after that bizarre call.
In the break-in.
Was connected. Maybe they planned something more, saw he was asleep, took the phone, and hid when he woke up.
But why just the phone? That part is still strange. Was it just an easy thing to grab, or was it deliberate? Like maybe to stop him from calling the police right away?
Yeah.
Or maybe even to delete her profile from his matches, erase that connection. It raises this really unsettling question about the motive. What was the real goal of breaking in? The ambiguity makes it even creepier.
As he said, there's just a lot that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Why only the phone? What were they doing hiding in the closet? So many unanswered questions about what really happened in his own home that night. So yeah, 3 different stories, but they all started with that seemingly simple act of connecting on a dating app, and all escalated into something deeply unsettling, even dangerous in the real world.
And that thread of deception runs through all of them, doesn't it? Whether it's outright lies about roommates being home,
Right.
or a hidden, terrifying plan behind offering a simple ride,
Yeah.
or potentially being followed and having your home invaded after a really bizarre interaction that started online. The initial presentation is just not the reality.
Absolutely. And that feeling of vulnerability is just palpable in these accounts. Being trapped in someone else's strange, messy house, or in a car going the wrong way, or even feeling unsafe in your own bedroom.
And these stories also highlight how difficult it can be to get answers or resolution when the evidence is murky, or when the perpetrator just vanishes digitally and physically. It leaves people with not just the trauma, but this lingering fear and uncertainty.
Definitely. So as you're listening to these, what parts really jump out at you? What details stick in your mind? Does hearing these accounts change how you think about meeting people online, about trust and risk in that digital space?
It really makes you consider, doesn't it? In a world where meeting online is so common, so normal, how do you navigate that inherent uncertainty? How do you know who you're really talking to? And maybe more importantly, how do you learn to really trust your own instincts when something feels off, even if you can't immediately point to why? Even without that concrete proof, it's a constant balancing act.
Well, that brings us to the end of our look into these particular accounts. Thank you for joining us as we walked through these unsettling stories shared online. If you found this exploration thought-provoking, we'd appreciate it if you'd like this, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel, Horror Docs, for more content.